So science is basically a framework. Science is a framework for gaining and gathering, and organizing knowledge. So it's basically science is a plan of action. It's a procedure for processing and understanding certain type of info. So for that we need what? Scientific method. We need scientific method. So it's a process of what? Scientific inquiry. So there are certain steps, fundamental steps for scientific method. Alright? So we'll go for those steps. So first we can say observation. Anybody can observe what's happening around the world. Then they question themselves. So, hypothesis. Then they do experiment. They do several steps of experiment. If they fail, then they do this observation again. But let's say if they are right, then what they do? They make theory or model. Okay? And then they do prediction. They predict out of it. And if they need further extension, they do experiment again. And let's say if they again need to modify, then they can say, okay, they need to modify as needed. And again they modify the theory and model. So these are usual steps. These are steps for scientific method. So now we can say what is hypothesis? A possible explanation. Possible explanation for an observation. We can say educated guess. And then we can set up an experiment accordingly. In experiment we can decide variable, independent variable, dependent variable, and then control, and then we design our experiment. We perform our experiment. And then after several experiments, we decide to go for theory or model, and then prediction, we modify again. And that's the whole process is called scientific method. Now the question is, what's the difference between law and theory? So I'm going to define what's the difference between law and theory. Okay. So law is measurable behavior. So we can say a summary of repeatable let me rewrite the spelling again. Repeatable. Alright. Repeatable observed. That is measured behavior. For example, Newton's second law, F equals ma. We express mathematically, right? And so that is our law. Now what is theory? Theory is set of tested hypotheses that gives an overall explanation of some natural phenomena. What does that mean? For example, apple is falling from tree downward. That's the natural. Any fruit is falling down from the tree. It's not the fruit is going up to the tree. It's falling down. That's the natural phenomena. And it's not measured, but it's you can observe. It happens, and we accept that any fruit is falling down the tree, right? So that's the difference. Law is mathematical expression, F equals ma, and this is theory, natural explanation. Now I'm going to give you guys an example, and we try to identify those steps. All right, so let's work on one of those experiments. I visited to elementary school, and some students did their experiment. Okay, so what that experiment? So first, what student work on it? Problem. What they find the problem through their observation. Does my dog ate better when exposed to a particular color of light? That was their problem. So that was their observation. Then they follow hypothesis. What's their hypothesis? My dog will eat better under red light. Now that's their answer to this problem, right? So for that, what they need to do? Experiment, right? So their experiment they set it up procedure. What they did in procedure? Observe the dog's feeding. Habits for 7 days. 7 days. So that's what they did. And what they did? Using colored light each time. Different colors of lights each time. So that's their procedure. Then after procedure, they collected data. Now, what they collected, they said my dog ate his entire meal. For 7 days. In 3 minutes. So let's say in 3 minutes. So what is the conclusion? Based on this conclusion, so let's see. I'm gonna go to next slide. So what they come up with conclusion? They said based upon several observations, colored lights have no effect upon my dog's feeding habits. You see that? What they did? They follow scientific method, right? Even these elementary kids, they follow scientific method. They observe, they come up with a problem, they come up with hypothesis, they set up an experiment, they gather the data, and then they come up with the conclusion that there is no effect on dogs' feeding habit. So that's